Good morning and welcome to the Business Standard Morning Show. I'm Debarghe Sanyal. It's the October 2nd, 2023, and here are the questions we'll be answering today. Why is India the graveyard of entertainment gigs? How did MS Swaminathan transform India? How to approach the markets in the second half of FY24? And what have scientists discovered about antimatter? So, Bengaluru missed its date with Trevor Noah. The reason? Well, there are many. Crawling traffic, poor crowd management, and bad acoustics at the venue. The famous South African comedian wasn't audible due to a technical glitch in India's IT capital. While the show couldn't make people laugh, its cancellation had them in splits thanks to memes on the social media. That's not all. A recent A.R. Rahman event also ended on a similar note. So in today's first segment, Abhijit Kumar tries to find out why India is bad at hosting such entertainment gigs, and what are the remedies that experts prescribe. Let us listen in.
Fans of Trevor Noah were in for a shock when the much sought-after comedian's Bengaluru leg of Off the Record India tour was cancelled last week owing to technical issues. The comedian posted an apology on X. Looking forward to enjoying their weekend with the comedian, fans braved traffic congestions and waterlogging due to rains to reach the venue, but they left fuming. The mismanagement demonstrated at Noah's event was not a one-off incident. A recent A.R. Rahman concert in Tamil Nadu caught a lot of media attention due to its mismanagement of the crowd and overselling of tickets. Many fans with valid tickets couldn't attend the show as a massive crowd turned up to the venue, leading to overcrowding. It led to traffic congestion near the venue, in which even the Chief Minister of the state, M.K. Stalin, was caught for hours. In another rather unfortunate incident, Bollywood singer Krishna Kumar Kunnath, popularly known as KK, passed away following cardiac arrest during a live concert in Kolkata in May last year. The indoor auditorium was overcrowded and the air conditioning was allegedly not working properly. Poor event management is not uncommon in India. This raises the question of what ails the show organizers at such events.
Getting the permission to do an event is a big challenge. The kind of money and the kind of the procedure that it entails to get to do an event is massive. The kind of money that goes in, organizing the police and policing and the trafficking and the security, that's also a major challenge.
Gig industry insiders say delays in permissions and excessive red tape cripples event planning. Increased censorship is also an area of concern. Last-minute cancellations due to an artist's personal views have become a common phenomenon in the industry. Not to mention, general safety and inadequate policing continue to be a worry at most entertainment events. At Rahman's recent concert in Chennai, women alleged sexual harassment during the event. Even at college festivals of Delhi University, sexual misconduct against women on campus is widely reported. Even high-ticket gigs fail to meet the audience's expectations. Remember the Justin Bieber concert in Mumbai a few years ago? Even after paying hefty sums for the concert, fans complained about the poor crowd arrangements and unhygienic surroundings. Stand-up comic Atul Khatri explains how poor event management impacts artists' performance as well.
Because what happens at the end of it, most people will just give bad words to the performers and walk away. They don't know who the organizer is, who the promoters are, what goes behind. So usually because they have come to watch a particular artist and it is goofed up, it is people will generally blame the artist. They don't blame, many people even don't know who the promoters are.
However, it's not the event organizers or artists to be blamed alone. One underlying problem that exacerbates many of these issues is the culture of free passes. Event organizers are often under pressure to distribute too many free passes, leading to overcrowding and security challenges. The practice not only strains resources but also diminishes the potential revenue that could be generated from ticket sales. So, what can be done to address these critical issues plaguing the organization of entertainment events in India?
Artists have to work with proper promoters, ask their background, what is the kind of work they have done, right from checking the sound, checking the light, checking the introduction music, seeing the experience, checking with the auditorium what time will they start the air conditioners, because what happens many times, these guys don't start the air conditioners way before because they want to save on electricity cost. So I think we have to work with better promoters. It's not that India cannot give shows. A lot of best shows have happened in India. It is a duty of the artist also to ensure, because finally his or her name is up there. So they have to ensure, they cannot just leave it to the organizers, because the organizers will goof it up.
For any rhyme or reason, the permission gets delayed, because of which we end up losing sponsorship, and we also end up wasting a lot of money. These problems can be fixed if there is a standard protocol which is given to all event organizers by the government. If people abide by that, the permission should be given in a day or less than a day.
It's crucial to confront and correct the evident challenges that hinder the management of entertainment events in India. Entertainment industry insiders believe that a better synergy between artists, event organizers, and other stakeholders is the only way to offer the audience a safe and pleasant experience. Perhaps a change in the audience's attitude is also required.
Glitches like those that brought the Bengaluru event to a halt also dent India's image, which is now being seen as a rising global power, not just in services and manufacturing, in agricultural production as well. But the man who is credited with transforming India into a major exporter of grains from being an importer passed away at his home in Chennai on September 28 last week. MS Swaminathan was 98. Ayush Mishra offers a glimpse into the life and work of the father of India's Green Revolution and tells us how he transformed India.
My father, Professor MS Swaminathan, passed away this morning at 11:20 a.m. in Chennai, at home and peacefully.
That was Dr. Soumya Swaminathan, former chief scientist and former deputy director general at the WHO and one of the three daughters of MS Swaminathan. The famed agricultural scientist passed away on September 28 at the age of 98. Swaminathan's demise marks the end of a critical chapter in India's history, which saw the country transforming into a major exporter of grains from being a net importer. He's credited with single-handedly bringing the Green Revolution to India, which turned it into a breadbasket from a begging bowl, as some US critics used to call it back in the 1960s. Swaminathan introduced science and technology to Indian farming, which had been medieval and in some cases even primitive till the 60s. Mourning the loss, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said his groundbreaking work in agriculture transformed the lives of millions and ensured food security at a critical juncture in our nation's history. Mankombu Sambasivan Swaminathan, or MS Swaminathan in short, was born on August 7, 1925 in Kumbakonam, Tamil Nadu. He studied genetics at the University of Cambridge. Armed with a deep understanding of agriculture, he returned to India in 1950. But his moment came about a decade later when the US threatened to halt export of PL480 rice to India. The country was living ship to mouth on imported grains.
In 1960s, what happened? We had severe droughts, 1966-67, and then also Lyndon Johnson, the president of America, said that India should support the Vietnam War if they want to give PL480 wheat. The MS Swaminathan, Dr. MS Swaminathan, and C. Subramaniam, that agriculture minister that time, and Mrs. Indira Gandhi, the prime minister, they thought India should be self-sufficient. And then Dr. MS Swaminathan was the main architect in getting the dwarf varieties, shorter varieties from Mexico, wheat, and from Philippines, rice varieties. So that way, wheat yields and rice yields have increased significantly. As a result, India achieved self-sufficiency in rice and wheat.
Swaminathan and the country gave a befitting reply to American biologists Paul Ehrlich and Paul Paddock, who had suggested halting food aid to India, saying that the country was getting overpopulated. Back then, the rising population led to a decline in India's per capita annual food grain production, dropping from nearly 190 kg in 1961-62 to 151 kg in 1966-67. The crisis was so severe that India had to rely on wheat imports mainly from the US under the PL480 program. In 1966, over 10 million tons of wheat had to be imported. In 1959, Swaminathan wrote to agricultural scientist Norman Borlaug, expressing a wish to customize for India a high-yielding wheat variety. Borlaug had developed it for poverty-stricken Mexico in the 1950s. The Green Revolution therefore kicked off around 1965-66 with just 100 kg seeds brought from Mexico. Fast forward to now. India is the world's largest rice exporter, accounting for about 40% of total rice exports. And its recent ban on wheat exports brought the world market to its knees as prices shot up considerably. From 1979 to 1982, Swaminathan served as the Director General of the Indian Council of Agricultural Research, or ICAR. He expanded ICAR's reach by establishing numerous centers across India to educate farmers about weather and crop patterns. Swaminathan's views on genetically modified crops sometimes brought him into direct confrontation with activists and civil society, but he remained steadfast in his convictions. Swaminathan knew about the pitfalls too. He had cautioned farmers against turning the Green Revolution into Greed Revolution. In fact, he wanted evergreen revolution where technologies can help farmers improve productivity in perpetuity without harming the ecology.
We mentioned that farmers should not be greedy about using chemicals and more irrigation and other things, and then soil will get affected. So that time he coined the word evergreen revolution, so that it can be sustainable. Otherwise, more chemicals, more pesticides use, it will affect the health of the farmers as well as the consumers. So that's why he wanted, not only green revolution, but evergreen revolution. In the sense, water, soil should be more, sustainable.
Awards too came along. He was given the Raman Magsaysay Award in 1971. He was also recipient of India's second highest civilian honor, the Padma Vibhushan. Till his last breath, Swaminathan had remained committed to the happiness of India's farmers and the upliftment of the poor. His daughter, Soumya Swaminathan, told the media while announcing his demise, He was thus a rare combination of eminence and empathy, conscience and commitment, which reflects in his greatest contribution to the Indian society, the Green Revolution. However, India still has a long way to go, as vast swaths of the country are still dependent on monsoons for irrigation. And the country awaits for its next MS Swaminathan. Like the agriculture activities, movement of stocks in benchmark indices is also a good indicator of the economy's health. After a volatile ride in the first half of this fiscal that saw the key benchmarks indices scale new highs, markets will now have to brace for an action-packed second half. From the busy election calendar stretching all the way till the middle of next year to rising crude oil prices and rising bond yields, markets will have to navigate multiple headwinds. Rex Kano spoke with experts on how they see the markets play out in the second half of FY24.
It has been a choppy ride for the markets in the first 6 months of fiscal 2024. The S&P BSE Sensex and the Nifty 50 notched up gains of 11.5% and 13% during this period, while the mid-cap and the small-cap indices on the BSE rallied over 34% and 39%. A large part of the gains in the first half of this fiscal were on account of FII flows, who bought a net 29,113 crore rupees. DIIs too lent support with a net buy of 44,762 crore rupees during this period, data shows. The Nifty 50 index hit the 20,000 mark for the first time in this backdrop to hit a new high of 20,222.45 levels. The S&P BSE Sensex, on the other hand, hit a record high of 67,927.23 levels on September 15. The second half of the fiscal, according to analysts, remains challenging amid multiple headwinds. Rising crude oil prices, with Brent almost hitting the $100 a barrel mark last week, yet again stoked fears of stubborn inflation. Surging bond yields and erratic monsoon back home proved to be sentiment dampeners. As the markets prepare for the second half of the fiscal year that also has a busy state election calendar, markets, analysts said, need to be mindful of these events in the month ahead. On the earnings front, analysts expect higher crude oil prices to impact India Inc.'s Q2 earnings.
The September 30th quarter results coming in the next couple of weeks, and so that will probably give direction unless it's very, very surprisingly good. I don't see that adding a lot of sort of enthusiasm to markets.
However, technical analysts remain upbeat about the near-term outlook, and as such recommend to keep a close eye on the following levels on the Nifty and Bank Nifty.
Nifty and Bank Nifty, the short-term trend is bullish on charts, so one should buy the indices at the support levels. The support for Nifty is expected to be at around 19,436, 19,336 and 19,225. One should find an opportunities to buy the indices at those support levels. Whereas on the resistance side for Nifty, it's expected to be at around 19,850, 19,950 and 20,164. Bank Nifty support is expected at around 44,200, 43,900 and 43,600. Whereas the resistance for Bank Nifty is expected at around 45,250, 45,500 and 46,200. Please note, for Bank Nifty, strict stop loss for all bullish positions should be at 43,600.
Today, the markets are shut for trading on account of the Gandhi Jayanti holiday.
He's making plans for an early retirement. Business Standard.
Meanwhile, legend has it that Sir Isaac Newton conceived the gravitational theory after watching an apple fall from a tree. But what about an anti-apple, or antimatter to be precise? Scientists have recently discovered that antimatter in the form of antihydrogen atoms respond to Earth's gravity in the same way as matter. Let's join my colleague Rajarshi Bhattacharjee to explore the exotic world of antimatter and find out how scientists proved that anti-gravity does not exist.
Particle physicists at CERN in Switzerland have found the answer to one of the greatest mysteries of physics. How does antimatter fall? Its first ever observation of free-falling antimatter, which proved that atoms of antihydrogen are pulled downward due to gravity as their matter equivalents. Wait, what's antihydrogen? Well, that's a positron orbiting an antiproton. Positrons are positively charged electrons and antiprotons are basically negatively charged protons. To understand all that subatomic phenomenon, we need to take a quick trip to the exotic and explosive world of antimatter. We learnt at school that everything we see around us is made up of matter. All matter consists of atoms, which in turn consist of protons, neutrons, and electrons. Antimatter is matter's evil twin. Its particles share the same mass as their matter counterparts, but qualities such as their electric charge are opposite, and this makes it explosive. When any matter comes into contact with antimatter, they annihilate each other, releasing all the energy stored inside them. Remember the antimatter explosion scene of Dan Brown's Angels and Demons when the little bit of the stuff blew up over Vatican City? The science depicted in the movie is based in fact. It doesn't sound like antimatter can be real, but it does exist in the universe. The good news is there is not much antimatter to be found around our planet to annihilate our existence. However, physicists at CERN have been making it at the antimatter factory for some time now to study this elusive and most expensive substance on Earth. So what's new? Particle physicists found that antihydrogen atoms released from the magnetic confinement in CERN's alpha G apparatus behave consistent with gravitational attraction to the Earth. The successful experiment will now allow precision analysis on the magnitude of gravitational acceleration between anti-atoms and the Earth to test the weak equivalence principle of general theory of relativity. This proof of principle experiment by alpha researchers at CERN is a confirmation of Einstein's general theory of relativity, which postulates that all masses, irrespective of differences in their internal structures, react to gravity in a similar manner. CERN's antimatter factory is a unique facility in the world for producing and studying antimatter. The experiments at this facility are aimed at measuring with high precision the gravitational acceleration of atomic antimatter.
I'm backed by the nation's trusted bank, SBI, the banker to every Indian.
Scientists believe the Big Bang should have created equal amounts of matter and antimatter in the early universe. But, as Rajarshi mentioned, there is not much antimatter to be found in our solar system. One of the greatest challenges in physics today is to figure out what happened to the antimatter or why we see an asymmetry between matter and antimatter. That's all for today. For more news and analysis, please log in to business-standard.com. Thank you for watching.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.